Hello everyone, welcome back to my class. This is Romana Ali. I hope you all are doing well. In the last session, we have started one new chapter and the name of our chapter was Breathing and Exchange of Gases. In that chapter, we have seen what are the different organs that constitutes our respiratory system. So let us recall all that organs. Right. So first the holes through which the air enters into our body, these are called as nostrils. Nostrils opens into the nasal chamber. Then further nasal chamber extends and shows a small region called pharynx. Below the pharynx we can see a voice box which is named as larynx, and below this windpipe is present, and windpipe is called as trachea. This windpipe is going to divide into two parts. This windpipe trachea is going to classify it into two types, two pipe-like structures which we call them primary bronchi. This primary bronchi extended into further branch-like structures which are termed as secondary bronchi. Then this secondary bronchi give rise to tertiary bronchi, and tertiary bronchi finally opens into small pipes which we call as initial bronchioles. And these initial bronchioles further divided several times, then it finally gives terminal bronchiole, and at the terminal bronchiole we can find the presence of structural and functional unit of lungs which are sac-like, which are balloon-like structures, and they are called as alveoli. So the different organs like nostrils, nasal chamber, pharynx, larynx, windpipe, bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli, all these together forms our respiratory system. Now besides these organs, we all know that lungs are present in our cavity called thoracic cavity. So in the thoracic cavity, fluid is present. We might have heard about this. Thoracic cavity is filled with the fluid, and in that fluid all these visceral organs are placed, internal organs are placed. So now the lungs, they are surrounded by some membranous structures like this. The lungs shows one surrounding at its outer covering. This outer covering is called as visceral pleura. Why we are using the term visceral here? Because all the organs that are present internally, they are termed as visceral organs. So the membrane which is surrounding the outer covering of this visceral organ called lungs is termed as visceral pleura. In this thoracic cavity, one more membranous structure is present, and this membranous structure is like this. It is going to cover the whole thoracic cavity, and this type of membranous structure is called as parietal pleura. Now in between the visceral pleura and parietal pleura, the fluid is present. We call this fluid as pleural fluid. Once again I am going to repeat this. This is our thoracic cavity. In the thoracic cavity, all the respiratory organs are present. The main respiratory organs in the human beings are lungs. So here the lungs are going to show some membranous structure at its outer covering. We call that membranous structure as visceral pleura, and then in the thoracic cavity, the other membranous structures are also present, and that membranous structure is called as parietal pleura. In between the parietal pleura and visceral pleura, fluid is present, and we name that fluid as pleural fluid. So this is about the respiratory organs and also about the fluid which is found in our thoracic cavity. So here respiratory system shows two types of parts in it. They are conducting part and exchanging part. Conducting part includes all the respiratory organs that helps in the conduction of gas, that helps in collecting, that helps in passing the air into the lungs. So that all that parts are termed as conducting part. So firstly, from where the air enters? Firstly, it enters into the nostrils, right? Then from the nostrils, it reaches nasal chamber. And in the nasal chamber, the air gets moisture so that it can soothe our body temperature. It can be manageable by our body temperature. From the nasal chamber, it enters into the pharynx. Then from this, it enters into the larynx. From the larynx, it reaches trachea. And from the trachea, it enters into the bronchi first, then into bronchioles. And after this, from the bronchioles, the air enters into the alveoli. We cannot write alveoli as a conducting part because alveoli is a part, it's a unit which helps in exchanging the gases. So we cannot write alveoli as a conducting part. Conducting parts means these are the different parts of our respiratory system that just help in passing the air. So passage of air takes place through nostrils, then into nasal chamber, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi and bronchioles. From the bronchioles, finally it reaches into the alveoli duct first. And from the alveoli duct, it enters into the alveoli. So exchanging parts includes alveoli duct and alveoli. Why we are writing alveoli duct and alveoli as exchanging part? Because these are the different parts that helps in exchanging the gases. Whatever the oxygen present in the air, when it reaches the alveoli, alveoli is responsible to exchange the gases. So the exchange of gases takes place between the alveoli and blood capillaries. So in this way, respiratory system shows the different parts, and that parts are divided into two main types: conducting parts, exchanging parts. Conducting parts are the parts that only responsible to pass the air. The air can easily enter into the alveoli through all these different parts that are referred to as conducting part. Exchanging part means alveoli duct and alveoli. These exchanging parts are helping in the process of gaseous exchange. So they are termed as exchanging part. So from the alveoli, oxygen is present. That oxygen is going to enter into the blood, and in the blood carbon dioxide is present. So that carbon dioxide is taken up by the alveoli. In this way, exchange of gases takes place. So we call the alveoli as an exchanging part. So I hope it's clear. Conducting parts and exchanging parts of the respiratory system. Okay, let us see the location of heart in between the lungs, and also about the different fissures that can be seen in our lungs. So we have discussed that this is our thoracic cavity again, and here is an abdominal cavity. So two lungs are present, a pair of lungs are present in the human body, right lung and left lung. These lungs are surrounded by some membranous structure which is called as visceral pleura, and again this thoracic cavity shows the membranous structure, and this type of structure is called as parietal fluid outer covering, parietal pleura. And in between the visceral pleura and parietal pleura, liquid fluid is found. This fluid is called as pleural fluid. Now let us look at the structure of the lungs. So you can see the cuts, the fissures are made in the lung. The two fissures are shown in the right lung, and only one fissure is present in our left lung. Fissure means slightly cutted part. Cutted portion is called as fissure. So here this fissure of right lung is called as horizontal fissure, and this fissure is called as oblique fissure. This one is called as oblique fissure again in the left lung. So when you see the location of the heart in between the lungs, then it is slightly towards the left side, like this. So the heart is located slightly towards the left lung, and this is how the fissures are made in the right lungs as well as in the left lung. Now let us look at the process of respiration. Up till we were discussing about the thoracic cavity in which the lungs are situated. We have also seen the different organs that are considered as the respiratory organ and helps in carrying out the process of respiration. And we have also seen the position, the location of heart in between these two lungs. Now, let us learn about the process of respiration. So, process of respiration includes different steps. Mainly, it shows 4 steps. The first step in the process of respiration is breathing. The second step in this process is called as external respiration. The third step in the process of respiration is internal respiration. And fourth and final step in this process is termed as cellular respiration. So here, in the process of respiration, 4 steps we need to remember. The first one, breathing, then external respiration would take place, then internal respiration, and finally cellular respiration would take place in our body to carry out the whole process of respiration. Respiration is nothing but the exchange of gases takes place, and after the gaseous exchange, the O2 which is present, this one is our blood vessel or blood capillary we can say, and here this one is the alveoli. So, O2 which is present in the alveoli, it enters into the blood capillary. Then the CO2 which is present in the blood, it is taken up by the alveoli. This is called as exchange of gases, and after the exchange of gases, whatever the glucose that is present in our blood, it is going to break down in the presence of oxygen to form ATP. This is called as the process of respiration. Simple. Just after the exchange of gases, the glucose breakdown takes place in order to form ATP. This process is called as respiration. The whole process is going to take place in 4 different steps. So, we are going to discuss about each step in detail. By looking at this diagram, we can clearly understand the process of respiration. What happens? The air enters into the nasal chamber, then into pharynx, then into larynx, and it reaches into trachea. I have not drawn any bronchi or bronchioles. I will just draw the alveoli here. So, the air finally reaches into the alveoli. So, the air which enters into the alveoli is rich in oxygen. But when you see this diagram, this is our heart, right? So, heart shows 4 chambers, right atria, right ventricle, left atria and left ventricle. So, in the right atria and right ventricle, the deoxygenated blood is going to be collected. So, these are the different organs that are present in our body. We all know that different organs are made up of different cells. So, inside the cell, when the glucose breaks down in the presence of oxygen, all the oxygen is consumed by the cells and the carbon dioxide is accumulated in the cells. Now, the blood which is present inside the cell, it is showing the unavailability of oxygen. Oxygen rate is very less in that blood. Because the oxygen which is present in the blood, it is consumed by our cells to carry out formation of ATP. So, to form the ATP, they use all the oxygen that is present in the blood. Now, the blood is free of oxygen, but in that blood carbon dioxide is present. So, the blood in which oxygen is absent, carbon dioxide is present, this blood is called as deoxygenated blood. So, the deoxygenated blood from all the organs has been collected by the right atria, then it reaches into the right ventricle, and finally through the different blood capillaries, it is sent, it is passed to the lungs. In the lungs, when the deoxygenated blood reaches the lungs, now the exchange of gases takes place. The oxygen which is present in the alveoli, it enters into the blood, and the carbon dioxide which is present in the deoxygenated blood, it is going to pass into the alveoli. Now, the blood becomes oxygenated. Why? Because the oxygen is taken up by the alveoli. Alveoli has given the oxygen to the blood. So, the deoxygenated blood becomes oxygenated one, and the deoxygenated blood becomes oxygenated, it is taken by the left atrium and left ventricle of the heart, then it is pumped to the different organs of our body. When it reaches the different organs of our body, again the process starts, that is the formation of ATP starts. Then the blood in which the oxygen is present, it is consumed by our cells. This oxygenated blood again becomes deoxygenated, then deoxygenated blood is passed on to the lungs, it becomes oxygenated one. So this cyclic process is taken up by our circulatory system, that is by our heart. This process also regulates the process of respiration. So in this way, all these systems of our body are interrelated. They are working in coordination. Without coordination, no process would take place in the human body. So in this way, circulatory system also contributes in the process of respiration. This is very simple. Firstly, the air enters into the lungs. It is rich in oxygen. The deoxygenated blood is collected from the different organs of our body by right atria and right ventricle. It is sent to the lungs. When it's sent to the lungs work has started. What's the work of lungs? It is sending the oxygen into the blood and taking the carbon dioxide from the blood. So it is helping in making the blood oxygenated. Once the blood gets oxygen, enough amount of oxygen is sent or passed into the blood, that blood is taken by the left atria and left ventricle of the heart, and then through different blood capillaries it is transported to the different organs of our body. So this is how the circulation process and the exchange of gases takes place. Now the first step in the process of respiration is breathing. So in simple words, breathing is nothing but taking the oxygen in and giving the carbon dioxide out. So basically breathing is a step which includes two other steps. Two main steps are involved in the process of breathing, and they are inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation means taking the air in, and we know that air contains oxygen. So basically we are taking the oxygen into our body. This process is called as inhalation. And exhalation means giving out the gas called carbon dioxide. So whenever we remove the carbon dioxide out of our body, that process is called as exhalation. Inhalation, taking the air in. Exhalation, giving it out. So inhalation and exhalation, both of the steps are involved in the process of breathing. Once the air enters into our body, that is rich in oxygen, then it is taken up by our lungs. So here the inhalation is a process which is also termed as inspiration, and exhalation is a process which is also named as expiration. We need to remember all these terms. So it's very simple. So here movement of air into the lungs is inhalation or inspiration, and movement of air out of the lungs, that is called as exhalation or expiration. This process is called as breathing. Here we will elaborate the diagram of just alveoli. So this one is our alveoli. Once the oxygen enters into the alveoli, it is taken by the different blood vessels and it enters into the left atria and left ventricle of the heart. From the heart, it reaches to the different organs of our body. But once this oxygen is consumed by the different organs or different cells of our body, the blood becomes deoxygenated and it is rich in carbon dioxide now. So this carbon dioxide rich blood is giving this carbon dioxide to the alveoli. So taking the oxygen by the blood and giving carbon dioxide to the alveoli. This process is called as external respiration. Just before we have already discussed about breathing, right? Inhalation, taking the oxygen in, is termed as inhalation, and giving this carbon dioxide out is called as exhalation. Exhalation and inhalation together can be termed as breathing. this is about 2 steps in the process of respiration. After inhalation and exhalation, the gaseous exchange that takes place. After inhalation, whatever the exchange that takes place between alveoli and blood, that is called as external respiration. Once the blood gets oxygen, that blood helps in transferring the oxygen to the cells of our body. Here this one is our cell. This cell is a deoxygenated cell. That means the blood which reaches this cell is not rich in oxygen. Only carbon dioxide is present. Now it needs oxygen to form ATP. It requires oxygen. So the blood which is rich in oxygen, it enters into the cell and gives this oxygen to the cell. And here deoxygenated cell means carbon dioxide is present. So this carbon dioxide is taken up by the blood. Oxygenated blood gives oxygen to the cell and takes up the carbon dioxide, so it becomes deoxygenated one. Once it gives oxygen to the cell, it becomes deoxygenated. That means it becomes rich in carbon dioxide. So here this deoxygenated cell becomes oxygenated after taking the oxygen, and the oxygen that is taken up by the cell is used to break down the glucose and it forms ATP. So this is how the exchange of gases takes place in between the blood and cells of our body. This type of respiration is called as internal respiration. And after the internal respiration, that means after the gaseous exchange takes place in between the blood and cells, then the reaction that takes place, that means glucose is breaking down in the presence of oxygen to form ATP. This type of reaction is called as cellular respiration, formation of ATP. Basically, formation of ATP takes place in the 4th step, that is in cellular respiration. So let us recall all this step by looking at this diagram. This one is our alveoli. Once the air enters into the alveoli, oxygen rich air is present in the alveoli. Now the blood do not have oxygen. It requires oxygen. The alveoli has oxygen. So oxygen is given to the blood by the alveoli, and alveoli is going to take the carbon dioxide from the blood. This is how the exchange of gases takes place between the alveoli and the blood. So whatever the gaseous exchange takes place between the alveoli and the blood capillaries, this type of exchange is called as external respiration. Now the blood is rich in oxygen, but the cells which are present in our body, they are not rich in oxygen. Now they require oxygen. So here blood is rich in oxygen. The cells of the different organs, they are rich in carbon dioxide. That means they are deoxygenated one, and blood is oxygenated one. Now these cells require oxygen. They need oxygen. So this need is going to be fulfilled by the blood. So blood takes this oxygen to the cells, and now the blood takes up the carbon dioxide from the cells. Again the exchange of gases takes place. Now the exchange of gases is not between the alveoli and blood. It is taking place between the blood and the different cells of our body. So the exchange of gases between the blood capillaries and the tissues or the cells of our body is called as internal respiration. Once the oxygen reaches the cells, now the reaction starts. So what reaction takes place? The glucose is present inside the cells. This glucose needs to be broken down in order to release energy. So this glucose can be broken down only in the presence of oxygen. So after the cells got the oxygen from the blood, this oxygen is used up to break down this glucose, and once the breakdown of glucose takes place, it results in the release of energy in the chemical form. Chemical form of energy is released, that is in the form of ATP. ATP means adenosine triphosphate. It's an energy molecule. Along with the ATP, some waste products like carbon dioxide also results. So this is how the 4 steps are taking place in the whole process of respiration. Breathing, inhalation, taking the air into the lungs, and exhalation or movement of the air out of our lungs. Inhalation and exhalation together can be termed as the process of breathing. After breathing, the gaseous exchange takes place between alveoli and blood, that is external respiration. After this, again one more gaseous exchange takes place, that is between the blood and our cells, and this type of exchange is called as internal respiration. Once the cells receives oxygen, that oxygen is consumed by the cells to form ATP, and this process or this step is called as cellular respiration. So these are the 4 major steps in the process of respiration. Now the question is, we have learned that movement of air into the lungs and movement of air out of the lungs takes place, that is inhalation and exhalation takes place. But what is the mechanism behind this? What helps us to take the air in? What helps us to remove the air out? This mechanism of breathing we are going to discuss in our next session. That's all for today. Meet you in next class. Thank you.